This is WOMMLP operating out Burlington, Vermont, 105.9 The Radiator. Good evening. It is the Rocket Shop. I'm your host, Tom Proctor, and with you tonight is Eastern Mountain Time. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back into the studio. When's the last time you were here?
I would hope that you would know. I think. Just kidding.
2, 3, 4 years ago. I don't know. All melds into one at this point.
Was it pre?
I think it was pre-COVID. Yeah.
Was it? It's been a while. Man.
Okay. Well, we'll say.
Been a minute. It's so good to be back. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so glad you were back in. Doing a bit of research on you, and I can't believe how prolific you've been over these years. Actually, I would love to talk to you a little bit about that in a minute.
Sure doesn't feel that way, but that's very nice to hear.
Well, we like kicking off with a song, so what have you got for us?
I'm going to kick it off with a song called More Buses and Trains, which is the titular song from my new album, which is coincidentally also called More Buses and Trains. And it goes like this. Since breakfast, maybe yesterday. I don't think that I will again. Still coming to get me, and I know they'll say you ain't living the way things have been. You ain't living the way things have been. The suitcase is packed up. I'm ready to go. I hope it's more buses and trains. When I was younger, I lived on those lines. Not sure like to ride them. Yeah, I'd sure like to ride them. The house is in order, no lock on the door. See me, I hope that you do. Left you some letters, some bad, some better. And this time I'll listen some too. And this time I'll listen some too.
All right, Eastern Mountain Time opening us up with More Buses and Trains from the 5th full-length album.
Is that right?
Yeah, apparently, according to your bio, you're the expert on this one. So that was released in April. So tell us a little bit about how this album came together. Was this the first post-COVID album?
This was the one that was really made during COVID. Most of it remote. I made this with my friend Willoughby Morse, who I've worked with off and on for probably 5 or 6 years, and we're just good old friends. And yeah, we started this one just kind of, I would record demos and send them, and Willoughby would kind of give me notes and help me finish writing the songs, and kind of served as a producer. And we just kind of pieced it together once we got my stuff kind of worked out. I would, send them guitar tracks and they would mix things and add stuff to it and send it back to me. And we took our time. It took us over a year to do this one, which is longer than I've ever taken to make an album. Because normally on other ones, I'm paying for studio time and a band and everything, and we got to get in there and get it done. But this one, because of the nature of the world, while we were doing it, we decided to take it really slowly. There were probably, weeks that would pass where neither one of us touched it. And then towards the end of lockdown, when we were able to get back together, we had some like in-person sessions here and in Albany. And then we put it out on cassette and digitally back in April.
Does the album itself have kind of I don't know, filter of COVID? Is the tracks themselves kind of relating to that feeling of maybe loneliness or isolation that you were feeling? I don't know if you were, maybe you weren't. Maybe the only one out there that felt very connected and together with everyone. Does it have that kind of reference to it, subtly or overtly?
I think the way that for me it tied mostly in with COVID was that the songs were written really quietly because I was writing them mostly in my apartment, knowing that I had neighbors who were also locked down, and I was trying to be respectful while also trying to, stay alive and do what I love to do. So these songs were written very softly, and some of them got built up, but a lot of them stayed kind of these mellow reflection kind of songs. And I don't know if I would say there's a loneliness to them so much as a stillness and like an acceptance, where it's hard to say what if that was COVID and what if that was just getting older a little bit. But a lot of these songs are just kind of about settling into life, and trying as best as I can to accept it and maybe appreciate and forgive myself for my past. That's in there too. That's a long answer.
Sounds like someone's been going to therapy.
I did a bunch of different kinds of therapy during lockdown, and there was so much time for reading of therapy themed books. So yeah.
Good. Yeah, whatever way you do it, I'm sure it's all good. Have you seen a kind of an evolution? I think 5 albums is a decent amount of albums to really not just find your own voice, but also track kind of where you are going musically. Is that something you've noticed? Have you ever listened back to album 1 or kind of look back at your older records and kind of see where you've gone?
Yeah, I do a good amount of looking back on. I do it a lot because oftentimes I'm just trying to put together set lists and I can't always remember all of them. So I'll put on an old album just to try to jog my memory and see those old songs and see if I can still pull them off. But I can certainly read the stages of like autobiography in them. And I have a feeling they're fairly obvious also. The first one was just figuring it out by myself. The second one was figuring it out with a band, and it sounds pretty bad because I'd never led a band before, and I didn't know how to do that, but we wanted to make an album, so we made a real sloppy kind of alt country album. And then there's like a kind of heavy drinking country album, yeah, and then it starts to bleed slowly into this old man territory. This I was calling this new one like my rocking chair album. These are my looking back and being like, what a time those other albums were.
You're getting into your John Prine era.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it. That means I'm just hitting my stride.
Exactly, yeah. Do you feel that the songs kind of coming more frequently? Are you finding it easier to write? Do you feel you found your voice, or do you feel like you got a lot left to explore? There might be like a, Bob Dylan in his 12th album, kind of let's go Christian on this one, kind of thing left within you?
Yeah, gosh, the pandemic was such a ripe time to discover like 80s Bob Dylan albums, and I hope that phase is coming. I don't know. Writing songs hasn't gotten easier. If anything, it's gotten a little harder. And maybe that's just me being a harsher critic, or I think it's also just wanting to say a little bit more than, like a recent breakup. I got a lot of mileage out of young heartbreak and bad decisions and addiction and all these things. Like I really ran it into the ground, and those songs came really fast. But getting out of that and slowing down and kind of mellowing out has made it a little harder to write songs. And so, yeah, I don't know if it's a stride, but I think with this Eastern Mountain Time album, More Buses and Trains, it might be the last one for a little bit. It kind of felt to me like a culmination of this story I was kind of just telling. And now I just want to be in a rock band so bad. I've done apparently 5 albums of like this, and I like it. I like these folky country songs a lot, and I think I want to maybe pause some of that John Prine and get into some of that loose like 80s Dylan, where like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers are the backing band and they're just having a great time.
It's really leaning into your 40s and 50s while acting like a 23-year-old.
Yeah, and not even caring if it looks cool anymore. My wife thinks I'm cool.
That's all that matters, genuinely.
Yeah, so I think it'll be a gear switch hopefully soon.
What was was it kind of you wake up one morning, you're like, all right, enough of this slow, melodic, singer-songwriter folk stuff. You stuck on an 80s Dylan song, you're like, this is who I want to be? Or is this been kind of a gradual process where you're like, actually, I was playing under a 6th album, but my heart's not really in it anymore?
A little bit of both, I think. It was a kind of around the pandemic. I sort of felt like with this last album, there was like one more thing I kind of wanted to do. I wanted to kind of write this final letter. So it had been almost, the new ideas were marinating kind of while these songs were getting written. And I don't know if I'm like sick of it or anything. A big part of it is that Eastern Mountain Time has never been like a consistent band with a consistent lineup of people. It's sometimes me solo. Bands have come and gone over the years, and I've gotten really bored teaching new people these same songs, which is a good problem to have. A lot of people were willing to spend some time learning these songs, and I'm so grateful for all the people that did that and who have sat in with me over the years. But I just want a band where like everyone knows the songs. I don't got to teach anyone those songs. They helped write them. I think that's like kind of the main motivation to get out of this gear. I'll probably keep on doing some solo Eastern Mountain Time things here and there. But focusing more of the forward energy on hopefully a more collaborative and loud project.
It sounds like you've kind of already got maybe people in mind, songs in mind, a vision in mind for this new iteration of Eastern Mountain Time. If it would even be called that, might be called something completely different. Is that the case, or is this still just kind of all up in your head and you've yet to kind of put the pieces together?
So it won't be called Eastern Mountain Time, and I've been working. My friend Jim Osborne, who I've played music with over the years, he's got a project called Siberian Summer. He used to play in this great band, Fridge and the Spins, that I always loved, and we've played together off and on over the years. And he helped me make this last one. He was one of my pod people, which was delightful, and we had a lot of fun working on these songs together. But like he's like a shredder at heart, and he's like a bit of a driving force. So I think the two of us are gonna hopefully soon figure out how to start a band in our 30s when when no one has any free time anymore. So I think we're constantly trying to psych each other up and trying to hang on to those little scraps of songs that might be something. It's really hard. It's really hard. But yeah, I think me and Jim are going to have something soon.
All right. Well, you're always welcome here as soon as you kind of get that together and
Oh, thank you.
and figure out, all we ask for is 4 songs. So
We're gonna
soon do you
blow
have
the roof
that,
off this
bring it
place.
in. Well, we'd love to hear another one of Easter Mountain Time before it goes to the
Before it implodes.
the band graveyard.
Yeah, I'd love to play another one. I'm gonna do one called "Sick Again," which is also off the new record. And yeah, "Sick Again's kind of based off this. It's kind of like an AA tenet. I'm not an AA person myself, but they say you're only as sick as your secrets, which I just really like a lot for just life in general. So this one's kind of about some of that. Broke the law and now I need it. I know they'll catch me in the end. If I'm as sick as my secret, then babe, I'm sick again. If it wasn't for the season, I don't think I'd know now where I stand. Just half remember half the reasons for why I am the way I am. Why I get nervous at night, and it's so hard to find a friend. Think about running sometimes, and I can feel my back just bend. Saw rain clouds on the lake now, and my God, they're blowing in. What you don't know, some days you find out. And I just hope I don't drown in it. Still I hear sirens most nights, and yes, I'd like to turn 'em down as they take off in line. Those fire engines shake my house. how I need it. I know they'll catch me in the air. If I'm as sick as my secrets, then babe, I'm sick again.
Right, Easter Mountain Time there with Sick Again. From, again, the one from the latest album, More Buses and Trains. And, yeah, beautiful song, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
As the latest album came out in April, and you are someone who does like a little bit of a tour, at least. I don't know, maybe tour, but you at least gigged a lot around New England.
Uh-huh.
Did you kind of pair the release with any kind of events around New England or Vermont?
Not really.
No.
We did so we had like a release show which was followed pretty quickly by Waking Windows, which we played with a full band this year doing a lot of these songs. I've been taking it real easy lately. I think later this month I'll be going down to do a show in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And then, I got some other shows around town and things. I took it. This really is. I mean, it's the rocking chair. I'm not going. I ain't going anywhere. I got nothing to sell anyone anymore,
Apart from the cassette.
apart from a cassette. Which, buy my cassette.
Is there a sense of freedom in the fact that you have got 5 albums out? You've been going on for a decade plus at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, is there a sense of freedom of not having to kind of go hell for leather and trying to sell stuff to people and trying to get as many gigs as possible, kind of taking it as and when?
Yeah, this has been like a huge thing for me, which again was I really helped out by the forced kind of convalescence of the pandemic. I started writing songs when I was about 13, and various projects, and then Eastern Mountain Time. This project started a little over a decade ago. And I spent most of it like really wanting something, validation, money. I wanted it to be my job so bad. I wanted, I don't know, I wanted people to care so much, and realized that was making me really miserable to want something so bad that was just out of my control, and also like a little bit vapid. Like it's kind of not actually even what I want. It's just something that I was a little bit obsessed with from a really young age. And with this album, it was kind of the first time I was writing really for myself. The promotion, the way I rolled out this album was I sent it to people who have been supportive of me over the years, and I just sent it out for free. And tried to take out the aspect of it where I'm trying to sell a product, or where I'm trying to make the right Instagram post that's gonna get the algorithm to show it to people who I care about at just the right time for them to click that link and follow through on a listen, and kind of all the mind games that surround that lifestyle. I just decided I wanted to do it, and I wanted to give it to people, and I wanted to play some shows around my hometown for my community and the people I know. And yeah, I'm just, and I'm not like psyched to be working a day job, but I'm psyched not to be so thirsty every day for that validation. And I think it's made the songs better, and I think it's certainly made them more enjoyable to write and perform for people. as a nut. You ask questions that always get me to
I love
give
it.
the
Yeah,
longest
please
answer.
continue on.
It's
Did
your
you-
fault.
Did you find a vast difference in the amount of listens and the amount of clicks and the amount of follow throughs from this approach where you're like, you know what, I just did it for myself this time, versus like previously where you really actively, you almost honestly did a second day job trying to promote your album, or you know whatever previous album or your previous records. Was there a big difference in how many you sold or got clicks for the fourth album, the third album versus this one?
Yeah, huge difference.
Otherwise,
Huge. I mean, I sent this one out largely. I did like this big email campaign where I wrote emails to people. Like I had like kind of a form to explain what this email was about, but I also made sure that they had a section where I was getting in touch with someone and making it clear kind of why I was sharing it with them, why I was grateful for their support over the years. And people downloaded it and people wrote me back, and I had these really beautiful conversations with people who I maybe hadn't talked to for a long time, or maybe who had never given me feedback on my music before. And it was magic. It was so beautiful to do it that way, because looking back on all those other releases, it never lived up to my expectation. It was always pretty painful, like releasing an album as a local band, not on a record label. It felt like every time, like maybe this is it, and then a pretty immediate rejection, a feeling of rejection. And this one just like kind of cut through all of that. And I mean, I wasn't making money on the other ones, so I made exactly the same amount of money putting out this one, you know? And I mean, I wouldn't have done it any other way. Like the experience was one of the most, it was hands down like the most beautiful experience I've had as a musician over like 20 years.
is this why you feel you can maybe walk away from this project now?
I mean, I can walk away from this project pretty easily because no one cares too much. Because no, I feel like there's this comedian Pete Holmes always had this bit about how you can't quit comedy because there's no one to go like give your notice to.
You're right.
Like there's no one I can give my notice to who's gonna beg me to write a new album or anything. But I feel satisfied, and that makes it easier to not worry about the next thing. And, you know, the next thing might end up just being another Eastern Mountain Time album. Like this band might prove to be out of my element, out of my range, and a big batch of Eastern Mountain Time songs might come, or they might trickle in. Who knows? But certainly having a beautiful experience putting out an album just makes it, yeah, I'll just say, yeah, it is freeing.
Yeah. I sounds a lot healthier, to be honest.
It sure feels a lot healthier.
Yeah, and I think it means that, you know, it sounds like whatever does come for the future musically for you, it's kind of take it as it is rather than try and force it into being something that might not be.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter anyway. I mean, I feel for my friends out there. You know, I have friends who are really out there trying to make it happen and are really passionate and just really want to share their songs and their music with a large audience, and they want to be able to devote themselves to that. And I really feel for them, but I mean, it happens or it doesn't, you know, especially now, I think, when we're all kind of on the same footing as just, we all just have the internet. Like my stuff is on the same streaming services as all the other stuff. And whether or not someone hears it, I mean, that'll happen or it won't.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I can impact whether or not my friends hear it and the people who I care about.
I will say when I saw you were coming back on the show, I personally was excited, you know. I think there's probably more people out there than you realise that have appreciated Eastern Mountain Time over the years.
Oh, am I being too self-deprecating?
I mean, I think
I know you love
I think it's difficult to kind of gauge these things because people don't. I mean, I certainly haven't written to every band that I've ever listened to and gone, yeah, I really like that album. In fact, I've never written to any band and said that. So
Sure. Yeah, and that is true. And I think there's still some magic to that. There's still some magic to not knowing, and whether or not something meets my like standard of success or what I had envisioned. There's a chance that someone I'll never meet hears it. I've definitely sent some records to some towns I've never heard of. And I just have to wonder, I wonder where that person stumbled across this. But it meant enough to them to support me by buying a vinyl or a tape or something. And I think that's, I love that. That's just like, that feels like the chaos of the world to me. And I love it when it crosses my path.
I'd say after playing in front of live audiences for over a decade, at least a decent amount of time, that you have almost definitely touched people in, someone's walked into one of your shows having no clue who you were, and you would have made their day. And you've got no idea that ever happened or changed the trajectory of what they were doing. And you'll never be able to find that out. It's just something that's almost definitely happened, but you'll never be able to get that kind of... You're never going to get a notification going that Dave saw your show, listened to one of your songs, and wept about it later on that evening. That's not going to be something that's going to pop up on your newsfeed. It's just going to be something that probably did happen at some point.
Isn't that so sweet? I feel like we get so wrapped up in the numbers of the thing. We think we're tracking it very realistically, I think, with likes or listens or streams or anything. But you just don't know that stuff. You don't know someone who just like heard it in a room where someone else was playing it. I love that. And I think that'll, I've made some physical things, and I joke a little bit, but like those things might end up in the rubble. It's like kind of a Station 11-y thought process of just like, this might survive something, just as much as a Bob Dylan cassette tape. My cassette tape will be in the same trash heap. And anyone could find it. Who knows? I might be long gone. Bob will probably still be around, but
yeah, true.
Knowing Bob,
his 50th album or whatever he's on to now, he's probably past 50.
Oh, he's in his 80s.
No, I mean,
his
the amount of albums he's done.
Oh yeah, I got a friend
definitely
who
past 50.
Know.
I think it was past 50 when I was born. Sorry, we're getting sidetracked now. We're getting to Bob Dylan's age. We'd love to hear another song. So
yeah. All right, so this one is another new one. It is called "Down in My Own Way," and I've gotten some really kind feedback about this song in particular that's been really special to me. And I was trying to think about what it's about. And I think I figured it out just like yesterday when I decided I was going to play it here. So this song starts with the line, "I've never been to California." I have another song that says that starts with the line, "I was born in California." Neither one of those things are true. But I lived in California in my early 20s for like 2 years. I think I round up to 3 just because I think it sounds cooler. I've been doing that for like 10 years. It's like 2 years. You're only as sick as your secrets. 2 years I lived out there, and they were really formative years. When I was like 20 through 22, 23, I did it again. And then I moved back here. So it was a short little snippet that was really important to me. I did a lot of living when I was out there. And I kind of realized it was so long ago that it almost doesn't matter that I was ever there for where I am in my life now. So I kind of wrote this song, just what if I'd never gone? And I'd just stuck around Burlington, Vermont, kind of who would I be? And more, I mean, who knows? But this song's kind of just about that, I guess. How my time in California was so important to me for so long. For years after I came back, it was such a huge part of my identity. And now, 15 years out, it just doesn't matter anymore. So this song is called Down in My Own Way. I've never been to California. Just heard about it in some songs. A friend of mine once went to Georgia. Me, I've been right here all along. I know the old boys in this city, and which ones you can ignore. I broke my own heart right here on this street. Still don't know what I did that for. It's like I heard somebody say, you can't change where you come from. So I sat down in my own way and let the next whatever come. You can't take a wrong turn if you ain't turning. You can't miss a scene you've never seen. If there's still something here worth burning, I think it's burning me. It's like I heard somebody say, you can't change where you come from. So I sat down in my own way, said if it's done, I guess it's done.
Down in My Own Way there by Eastern Mountain Town. Tyne, sorry. Marbles my mouth this evening.
Charming marbles.
So, I mean, in the 12 odd years that you have been playing, you've played all over New England, and although you've kind of slowed that down a little bit, you must have some favourites. I mean, outside of Vermont, is there any
Favorite shows?
Favourite shows, favourite venues, places that you feel just were unexpected in whatever way, even good or bad, somewhere that you might have thought was amazing and then you turned up and it turned out to be crap. Is there any highlights from from the Tilring days?
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about before we started about Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which was a town that really surprised me a number of times, just for having a really supportive scene for like indie music. And the first time I've played there multiple times, and the first one was at this art space. It was incredible, incredible hosts, and then played there a number of times since at this great coffee shop / record shop. And that's just a town, no one's talking about Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And people think it's weird that I go out of my way to play there when I can. That's also true of Buffalo, New York. I've found a really beautiful, supportive scene there as well. And played in all kinds of different spaces. The most recent one was like the common room of a hostel.
Is there much call for hostels in Buffalo, New York? It seems a bit of an unusual. Niagara Falls.
They got, yeah, it's the Buffalo Niagara Hostel. Yeah, I guess.
Enough that
tell you,
they've got
I had, like,
artists
I had a
driving
pretty
in from Vermont to
traumatic
play.
night. The last time I went to Buffalo, I was opening for this guy named Simon Joyner, who I really like. He's been a singer-songwriter of note for 30 years now. He's from Omaha, Nebraska. But I went out there, I got offered to open up for him, and I just did a trip out and back with my partner and a bandmate at the time. It's like 8 hours. So 8 hours there, play the show, drive back. But I wanted to play a show with this guy. And we stayed at the hostel, and staying at a hostel is rough. I hadn't done it since my like early 20s, late teens. I used to do it in like Montreal when I was young, and it was so exciting. It's
Did
not
you do the
exciting
whole,
anymore.
Staying with 8 other people in a room kind of
You
thing?
got 8 people. One of them is gonna snore.
Oh,
One of
yeah.
them's gonna be a chainsaw. And the worst part, it was the guy I brought. It was my guitar player, and I felt so bad. I had to we were all up all night, and I was just like, I'm sorry about it. I don't know.
Worst one I ever did was in Australia. I were rapidly running out of money, and I stayed in a 30-bedroom dorm. So a 30-bed dorm. It was insane. But no, someone
That
was
sounds
always
like an
coming in.
army field hospital
It
to me.
kind of was plastic mattresses because they must have had enough people throw up and whatnot on them, and yeah, there's always someone snoring, other people doing other things. Someone coming in every 5 minutes.
I was so misled. My first hostel experience was in Montreal when I was like 18. And it was in like the old part of town, and we woke up in the morning and there was like a fresh baguette and Nutella and all these very charming international travelers. And I was like, oh, I can't believe it. This is what hostels are. What a delight. And that's not what hostels are.
I mean, I would say.
I guess
it's
they
definitely
can
a
be all
mixed
kinds of
bag. There's
things.
everything from your delightful baguettes and French treats to army emergency cots.
They don't have the hostel here in Burlington anymore, do they?
I believe they do.
Is it still there on Main
We had a
Street?
friend that stayed there last week for our engagement party. Was that right? I think.
Are we at the part of the show where we talk about your engagement now?
Maybe.
Can we?
This is new to Annie, but our friend Farron stayed at a hostel when she came to our engagement party last 2 weekends ago.
You had someone travel for an engagement party.
We had a few people travel for an engagement party.
And they're going to have to
actually.
do it all again.
We have to do it all again, yeah.
Well, that's very
Well,
selfish
some
of you both.
Some of them are going to be traveling from England for our actual wedding.
Oh, so you're doing it
Oh,
here.
We're getting married in just outside Montreal at a friend's farm.
Love that.
Yeah.
I got married at a friend's farm on October 1st here in the Northeast Kingdom.
Last October 1st?
This last October 1st.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations to you
Thanks
as
very
well.
much.
I support getting married at a friend's farm. Everyone who gets a venue seems so miserable.
Well, Annie is a wedding photographer, so she has toured every single Vermont venue there is.
Oh, of course.
yeah.
Is that...
She's got some people
Now
on
I
her,
wanna-
on her, shit, on her
Now I want
please
to
don't-
interview you.
Please don't get married in that venue list, which I won't mention here because she wants to keep her business, but yeah.
Is there any stress to like having to hand over the duty of wedding photography to another person for your wedding? Is there someone you trust?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Friend.
Are they a listener?
Yeah, she's listening right now. now ready to just let go.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited for
I
you
don't know how
both.
this started happening.
I love this. This is what I
enjoy it.
I just want to have a
think-
podcast. So anything like this, I just try to steer it this way.
I need to be mentioned on this show a few times, but I don't think anyone's ever asked her a direct question. So this is fun. Maybe
I see you. I hear you.
Well, unfortunately, we've actually not got too much time left, but we would like to hear one last song if you've got anything up your sleeve.
Yeah, I can do that. I didn't plan one, but I'm gonna wing one. I'm gonna try to do. This is another new one. This will be this is the closing song on More Buses and Trains, which I don't play live too often because it's just too darn tender. It's
We
a
love
song.
a tender song, especially to close out with. Too many people do try and end with like a crescendo or a flourish, and I think sometimes we just need to calm it down. We all need to
We all
decelerate
need-
as we end the show.
Yeah, we all need to be grateful that someone in this world is taking care of me. And that person is my incredible partner. And I wrote her this song for our 5th anniversary. We're coming up on our 7th now. So it was about 2 years ago. I got a little cheesy with it. The 5th anniversary is the Wood anniversary, I guess. So this song is called Wood, but different spelling. I'm gonna do my best. Would you know it? I'm dreaming. I'm not surprised to see you. We're in the house that we sleep in, but all our other ones too. Would you whisper my name once? Dream like and low, just so I'll know I'm not waking alone. Would you call me your lover? I know who uses that word, but we know so many others. Would you call me your bird? Would you stay here forever? Or what forever allows? This will be nice to remember, but it's nicest right now. Would you know it? I'm dreaming. I'm not surprised to see you. We're in the house that we sleep in, and all our other ones too. And we can stay here forever. space time allows. This will be nice to remember, but it's nicest right now.
Easter Mountain Time playing us out with Wood there. Sean, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me. I love it here. I love you all so much. Thank you for creating this space.
Yeah.
This is that magic where I don't do all the things that I used to do. This is something I want to do, and I really appreciate y'all making it happen.
Well, thank you. Without people like you, this would not be very much at all in terms of the show. So we really
Thanks.
appreciate you coming in, and love to see what this next project has to hold. And please come in when that comes about. And if it doesn't, come in anyway and show us off your new the sixth album from Mr. Mountain Time.
You got it. You know I will.
All right, well, that's all we've got time for this evening. Next week, we've got Obi the Voice God coming in, so looking forward to that one. But for now, this has been WOMMLP operating out Burlington, Vermont, 105.9 The Radiator. It's been The Rocket Shop. I've been your host, Tom Proxer, and good night. You're such a lovely
Thanks, y'all.
guest.
Oh,